All right, so I want to come on today because what on earth is going on with American Horror Story? What a disappointing decline in quality. Now, I know this isn't new. I know this show has been in the toilet for almost 10 years now?
Only God can forget.
I gave up on American Horror Story a long time ago, around when Hotel came out, because I went, this is just gore for gore's sake. There are no characters, nothing. Every couple of years though, I see the premise of an American Horror Story season, or I see the poster and I'm like, wow, that looks so visually fascinating. Wow, what a good idea. And then I watch the show and I hate it. I watched the first half of American Horror Story's latest season, Delicate. They've released half of it in one chunk and they'll do the other half later. And I'm just struck by how totally not engaging, clunky, and just painful this show is. And it's so disappointing because there's so much talent still involved in it. The cast is great. The production value is really good. You know, watching this season of American Horror Story, I was sort of thinking to myself, maybe horror as a genre isn't that effective in TV show format. When I watch something from Mike Flanagan, for example, The Fall of the House of Usher, while that isn't a scary show, each hour-long episode feels like its own short, contained movie in a way. There's a tone and a pacing and a rhythm that sort of locks you in. You need to be in a certain mood to watch it, and if you give yourself over to it, you're locked in for that hour. It's not a show you kind of want to watch 20 minutes here, 30 minutes there. The structure of that season is ideally you watch an entire episode front to back, and I think that's important. I think the issue with American Horror Story Delicate, it just feels like a show that is designed to be on in the background while you're on your phone, and I don't think that works with the horror genre, which is something that demands attention and patience and kind of for you to be locked in. My issue with American Horror Story Delicate isn't the fact that I don't find it scary. I don't think I've ever found any of the American Horror Story seasons scary.
I can't spend eternity here. It reeks of fish. This is naughty pie.
I just don't think it's captivating. I think the story on paper is insanely good, insanely horrifying, and horrifying in a way where it's not like, that was a jump scare. Horrifying in the way of that's unsettling. If I was trying to have a child, I wouldn't want this happening. I feel like the material on paper is just perfect for an American Horror Story season. That's why I watch this show. I feel like the idea of a socialite woman, a famous actress trying to get pregnant and feeling like these existential supernatural forces are trying to gaslight her, take her baby, or interfere with the pregnancy sounds incredible. You know, the idea that it can weave ideas of the mental health effects that are associated with pregnancy, as well as the sort of spotlight that comes with fame, and whether any of this is in her head, all of this is in her head, what's exacerbated by the fame, what isn't, all of these things sound incredibly interesting. But then you watch the show, it's just repetitive and tedious and annoying. There's no dread. I'm just going to call the show out here. I don't think any of these characters are particularly well written. They are all incredibly shallow, and you can make the argument that maybe that's the point. Maybe this is satire. Maybe they're meant to be intentionally vain. But I don't agree. I think they really want you to care about the main actress. Now, I'm not sure if this is an issue with performance or writing, but I just don't get a sense that she really wants or cares about too much. I just don't really have a sense of who this person is and what makes her tick. So when the horror starts coming and she starts falling apart, I'm like, oh my God, she's falling apart. What's going on? For a show that spends most of its time being she's losing her marbles, or people are gaslighting her and making her lose her marbles. We're at the halfway point of this season, and I'm sort of struggling to remember what kind of makes Anna. She just comes off really poorly written, and it almost feels like a step back in character writing for female characters. She's very what's going on? What's happening? My calendar changed. Who's that? Why are you there? Who are you talking to? And the issue is, as audience members, at least for me, I'm not sitting there feeling particularly bad for her. I don't think the show's doing a good job of making us feel anything at all. I don't really care about the baby. I don't care whether the husband's a creep or not. All of these secrets that the show are keeping from the jump are so painfully obvious that you're sort of just why are we watching?
If it's one thing American Horror Story is going to do, and that's put a passive spouse with an evil spouse.
Obviously the husband's a bit suspicious, and even if he's not in on this plot, he's just a piece of shit husband. Like, he sucks. And he sucks from the jump. There's no disappointment here when he escalates into being sucky, because he's sucky from the jump. Kim Kardashian is weird from the jump. You know pretty much straight away that she's got her hands in this and she's being suspicious. It is the most obvious thing I think I've ever seen. But the issue is the show isn't interested in being like, oh, let's unpack how someone gets gaslit on both angles and watch it from both the gaslighters and the main character, sort of in like a Killers of the Flower Moon sort of way. Instead, it's presented as a twist when all these reveals happen. And it's like, but it's so obvious. Like, what else have we been watching? You're just kind of sitting there waiting for the show to reveal things that are like, well, yes. Like, yes, you get what I mean? Like, yes, obviously Kim Kardashian is a bit sus. Obviously the husband is a bit sus. Like, the end of the season, you're sort of sitting there going, okay, I basically felt this in my gut from the moment the show started. On top of this, though, there are large portions committed to, I guess, being creepy, being a bit of a horror movie. And I'm sorry, but I don't think the show pulls it off. Again, bringing up Mike Flanagan's shows, I don't always find them scary, but at the very least, I find them emotionally moving and captivating. And when the jump scares do happen, like, they're pretty well orchestrated. I sit there and go, even if they don't get me, I go, you know what? Like, you tried hard. It was well orchestrated. It was visually cool to look at. I'm never bored in any of Mike Flanagan's shows.
Telling you.
I'm trying to tell you.
I don't need to hear your excuses.
I'm not making excuses.
Bullshit.
In this, I'm like, I feel like you're trying to scare me, but this is just tedious and repetitive. Oh no, someone's moved the phone from the bench to the bed. Oh no, someone's moved the medication from the fridge to the microwave. Oh no, she wore the wrong shoes.
Oh my god, there's a bang at the door!
Even if I didn't find it scary, if I found Anna a compelling character and really wanted to see her win and instead had to keep seeing her fail, then I would be engaged by the fact that people are meddling with her life and the sad spiral she's on. She's paper thin. They do not give her enough to do. I wouldn't say this movie fails the Bechdel test. It's not that. It's not an issue of she can't talk about anything that isn't a man, but she kind of doesn't really talk about anything on her own accord. She is constantly just kind of responding to what people say about her or to her or for her. She is passive to a point where, as a character, I just completely not compelling.
I just booked you the cover of Vogue.
Vogue?
Siobhan, I'm nobody. If you were a nobody, would bitches be sneaking into your house and your hospital room? You've earned this. And even if you haven't, I have.
Do you really think I'm ready?
I need you to pull yourself out of your misery and into your ambition. Anna Wintour. Okay, I have to take this and take off. Love you.
Love you.
I don't think the show does a good job of giving us a bunch of insight into who she is, unfortunately. And as a result, when there are these extended sequences of just her walking around the house and trying to figure out what's going on, like, you're kind of sitting there going, oh, I feel like I'm with the babysitter that I've never been introduced to. This is weird. Mum, can you come home? You know, you spend 10, 15 minutes of an episode just kind of watching this person that you know nothing about walk around her house. It's not fun, it's not captivating, and it's not engaging. I think more effort from the American Horror Story team needs to be made to make these episodes feel like really well-constructed arcs within their own right. Whenever I watch an episode of American Horror Story Delicate, I'm really not concerned if someone gives me a phone call or if I pause it or anything, because just structure-wise, it feels like it just wastes your time for 30 minutes and then the last 2 minutes are like, oh, tune in for next week. I don't think this serious, gritty, dark, disturbing subject matter lends itself to like, oh, better watch next week. So at this point, you're probably like, Marshall, you're really complaining about American Horror Story, just don't watch it. And like, I agree. I won't be. But I guess the thing that's so frustrating is Mike Flanagan is right here. He just did The Fall of the House of Usher. And yeah, you know what? I didn't find it particularly scary either. But fuck me, was that an interesting show. Even when it wasn't working, what an interesting show that was. Just captivating, well drawn out characters. And the thing is, that show has like 16 characters to flesh out. All right, Roderick, if you've seen the show, the whole show is about like some rich dudes, like offspring, getting picked off one by one due to like a family curse, essentially, right? It's based on the works of Edgar Allan Poe. But in that show, Roderick has had like a great time. He has like fucked everyone, right? Because he has like 15 kids or 16. He has like literally like 8 kids, grandkids. Like there is a long line that needs to get picked off, and each one of these characters gets about like 40 minutes to an hour 20 of like screen time or interactions with other characters. And the thing is, by the time they die, yes, some of them you're like, oh, I wish we got more of them, but I have a really good idea of what these characters' lives probably look like before this and after this, just by the way characters talk, what we're informed on. I think it's really, really well done. And the issue is, yes, American Horror Story Delicate does do a lot of like, oh, before I met you, I was with this girl, or before you did this, I was da 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 da.
Dee Dee never made me do stuff like this.
Dee Dee was a dinosaur, and that's why you fired her and you moved over here to my company.
But you don't feel it. You know, you just don't feel it. And in these Mike Flanagan shows, he just does such a good job of basically being like, here are the characters, here are what they're about. Here are what they're about right now. And based on all these subtle things I've thrown in, you can probably piece together that they were abusive to this person, or that they cheated on this person, or that they don't like this from people, or blah, 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 blah. It's also writing that rewards patience. And the thing is, as a result, that show doesn't waste too much time. There are always characters talking. So when it does slow down, when there is just a scene of someone walking around a room, unlike American Horror Story Delicate, where that is like 50% of the fucking show, when it happens in Fall of House of Usher, you're sort of like, ah, shit, I feel uncomfortable. I was enjoying watching the rich people argue. I was enjoying the weird orgy sex party, but now it's cold and tense and weird, and oh my god, something just jumped out of the screen. And yeah, like it's more effective because it's more scary. Like inherently, the pacing's better, the lighting's better, the tone's better. We'll get to that with American Horror Story. To actually, fuck it. What on earth? Why does American Horror Story look like shit?
Get away from my baby!
Oh my god. What is going on? Why does it look so bad? It's trying to be a scary atmospheric show, and it looks like a bloody straight to TV movie. Like I know it's a TV show. I know it's a TV show, but we've entered this era of TV where shows look like movies. Look at The Fall of the House of Usher. That acid rain sequence was so visually striking. I was like, I would have paid to see this at the theaters. I would have paid to see that whole episode at the theaters, and I would have been happy with it. You know, give me like a 3-hour session of the first 3 episodes of House of Usher. I'll watch it. But American Horror Story, it looks like shit. Why? All right, they've got great like practical effects, but the lighting sucks. I hate the angles. It looks like it's shot by Kenneth Branagh. Just everything's like down here. Why? Why? Tell me why. And the worst part is the opening sequence of American Horror Story, right? Those opening credits are still amazing. Now, they were amazing in season 1, season 2, season 3, and season 4. They've always been incredible. But the reason I'm complaining now is those first 4 seasons of American Horror Story visually looked a lot better, and also were like well-written, emotionally kind of profound stories.
It was me you should have been curling up with at night, not a dog!
I had an opinion for a long time that the first season of American Horror Story is the best single season of TV I've ever seen. I think it's fantastic. Now, on rewatch, it might not hold up, but, you know. But the thing is, these later seasons, they have these incredible intros still. And they hook you. You see that intro. It's all this horrific, like Rosemary's Baby, like hypersexual, hyper sort of like body horror visuals where you're like, this is uncomfortable, this is unnerving. And surely a team that makes something this unsettling and this uncomfortable is going to crush it when it comes to the actual show. When I watched that intro, if someone came over and like walked in and heard that like chainsaw sounding music with those visuals, I would probably change the channel. Like, porn would be easier to explain. Like, how do I go like, oh yeah, I'm just chilling. Oh, like, sit down, watch this audio and visual torture for a minute with me.
What the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck are you doing, huh? How do you watch that shit, huh?
I don't know, okay? I don't know. How do you watch all the stupid fucking movies that you watch?
Every time I see the intro, I'm like, oh yeah, we're in good hands. And then, you know, the show starts and it looks like a porn, you know, and then the show starts and it looks like a student film. And also, Emma Roberts, I think Kim Kardashian did a better performance than Emma Roberts this season. I don't know what's going on with Emma Roberts. I think she's great normally. You know, Wild Child, awesome. But like, what's going on with Emma Roberts here? Like, she feels like a Nepo baby that like needs to be sent away for more acting classes. I have no clue what's going on, whether it's poor direction or poor writing, but oh my God.
I mean, even though I'm broken.
I'm so fucking excited for you.
Wait, nothing has happened yet. Something you literally begged it not to do from ages 14 to 30. You clam up every time I ask you.
I'm sorry.
There are these moments in this season where the satire is effective. There's a quote about Olivia Wilde that I couldn't believe. It got like a really good chuckle out of me. Like, I had to like stop myself from laughing.
No such thing as bad press.
What am I gonna do?
We are gonna pull a wild card. As
in Olivia Wilde.
Don't mention what happened and wait till everyone forgets. / low-key gaslight the people that do ask and make them think that they're the problem.
You know, to give this show a bit more credit, the sort of like social commentary, like Instagram apology that she has to do for like vomiting on stage and make it about her body, her choice, hilarious. Really good commentary on how celebrities kind of handle like controversy.
It's my body. I'll vomit if I need to. It's a way to expel poisons, toxins that can kill and infect. It's my body. I'll bleed if I need to. It's called menstruation. Deal with it. If men could do it, it would be considered a sacrament. Today, I say no more shame, no more guilt. It's my body. And to be clear, defecation and gas are acts of nature. Hold nothing in. Release centuries of repression.
You know, and the dialogue is painful. Like, oh my God. There are so many points where the dialogue is just like, people just talk to tell you things. Two characters will just talk just so then you're filled in as an audience.
You still love me?
Even though you were late to the appointment I flew in on a red-eye from Berlin to make? Yeah.
And like, obviously exposition is like an important part of any TV show, but the way this show handles it is painful.
What is that supposed to mean? Listen, you're suddenly an A-list star after spending years on the CW applying sunscreen with a smoldering stare before you did a low-budget indie that we all thought would wind up in the bargain bin at Walmart. I mean, no offense.
I mean, none taken, that is true.
Ever since you came to me to blah, 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 and blah, 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 I've had your back with blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And now we're going to get you that Oscar like we talked about months ago. And it's like, both these characters already know all this. You know, they work with each other every single day. Do they have this conversation every single day? Every time Emma Roberts comes up and goes, hey, like, funny meme you sent me last night, does she go, hey, Emma, we've been friends for 6 months, blah, 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 blah. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It's not how people communicate.
Dee Dee never made me do stuff like this.
Dee Dee was a dinosaur, and that's why you fired her, and you moved over here to my company.
Like, my issue with writing like this is it's just so transparent in terms of like, ooh, how do we communicate to the audience that she left her old agency to be with this one because that's going to be important later. And the writers are just like, why don't we just get them to flat out say that, even though they both already know that, and there's really no reason they'll be saying that here. Whatever, you know, people will deal with it. It's like, do better. And on top of that, in the first episode, then she hangs out with her like husband, and he's like, you know, I met you shortly after my wife died and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, like, she died and that was really hard on me, but I'm really happy with you. And it's just like, she knows all this already. She knows all this, like, obviously. And it's just these painful conversations where it's like, yes, There's a way to do exposition, and it is important, but this is not the way to do it.
You have that hunted look. Same thing I had after I had my miscarriage.
You know, there's a later scene where Kim Kardashian is sleeping with like this Hollywood guy to like seal a deal and like, you know, get a movie made or something. And it's like very clear that that's what's going on from the jump. And then he goes like, hey, like, I really like you. And she's like, hey, don't get it complicated. I fuck you and you sign the movies because that's what we do. And it's like, all right, I get it. Like, you need to explain it to the audience, but please find a better way to do this.
You're amazing.
I know. You remember our agreement, right?
Never tell Anna about this.
Good boy.
But why, darling? I love you.
Ew. No, you don't.
I do.
That's pathetic. I mean, I'm using you, and you're using me. There's nothing wrong with a little transactional sex.
Like, Mike Flanagan should just replace American Horror Story. It should just be Flanagan Horror Stories or something. All right? Get rid of American Horror Story. It's done. It's in the toilet. It's been in the toilet for a while. If they couldn't make a compelling season of someone trying to get a baby delivered in impossible circumstances while also being a famous actress, which sounds like a great premise, they're not going to be able to like do anymore. All right? It's done. It's shit. Get rid of it. I just think he's the master of it at this point. I think he knows how to do long-form storytelling based in the horror genre. He knows when to just make it a character drama. He knows when to make it scary. And his shows don't rely on you being ooga-booged. You know, his shows don't rely on you being jump scared. I think that's the most important thing. And why is American Horror Story still going? Why is it still going? It's a shame, but it's just embarrassing at this point, and it kills the legacy of those early seasons that were fantastic.
Did you happen to catch the 3rd season of American Horror Story?
No.
Jessica Lange turns in a performance that is so stellar. At the end of it, she wakes up in this gross little cabin and figures out that she's in hell. And it's wood-paneled walls, and she goes downstairs and she goes... smells bad in here. Smells like fish, cat piss. What is this? Naughty pine!
I just feel like any self-respecting actor would not be in American Horror Story, and they would be in Mike Flanagan's show. I mean, Mike Flanagan's latest season, Fall of the House of Usher, has Mark Hamill. It has Luke Skywalker. Like, casually, not even as like a main character. He's just like a assistant hitman dude that like hangs around rich people. They got Luke Skywalker, like the Luke Skywalker. They're just like, fuck it, yeah, we're gonna have a Mark Hamill, and the rest of the cast is nuts too. Like, and it's like, yeah, he's doing American Horror Story, and he's doing it better. Each season is a new story completely, and the same actors return in different roles. I'm just sort of sitting here left there wondering, why do we need American Horror Story? Is it proving itself? Maybe you could argue that it's a light, fun counterpart to something like Mike Flanagan. It's a bit more millennial. It's a bit more like funny and satirical. And like, I would agree a bit, but then the show spends 50% of its time trying to be scary and trying to be unnerving. And I think it just fails. I don't think its presentation is up to snuff, and it's just such a shame. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I just wanted to get that off my chest. It was a bit of a rant, but whatever. Thanks so much for watching.
What the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck are you doing, huh? How do you watch that shit?